Ms. Yates, welcome back.
Thank you.
And let me congratulate you before I go any further. Today marks the second time during the Trump administration that you've testified before this committee. That sum of appearances equals the total number of times that Attorney General Sessions, Acting Attorney General Whitaker, and Attorney General Barr have appeared before this committee in their official capacity combined. So congratulations. We can't seem to bring the Attorney General here, but former Attorney Generals are always welcome. Thank you very much for being here. I'd like to ask for a moment for a reflection on Michael Flynn and ask about the following. Flynn apparently had suspicious contacts with Russia starting at least in 2015 when he sat next to Vladimir Putin at a dinner in Moscow. Flynn accepted payments from multiple Russian entities like RT, Kaspersky Labs, the Volga Airlines, and he failed to report these payments on his financial disclosure forms when he became National Security Advisor to President Trump. According to the Mueller report, during the 2016 campaign, Flynn worked with individuals who claimed to be in contact with Russian-affiliated hackers in an effort to obtain Hillary Clinton's emails. Flynn also signed a contract to work with the Turkish government during the campaign, and he lied about his work for Turkey on his Foreign Affairs Registration Act filings. In December of 2016, Flynn had 4 phone conversations with Russian Ambassador Kislyak in which he urged Russia not to respond to U.S. sanctions that the Obama administration had imposed because of Russian election interference in the United States. And that is the policy difference, I think, that has been alluded to. At no point during these calls did Flynn express any disapproval of Russia's election interference in the United States. Ms. Yates, understanding that you can't get into classified details, can you tell us whether the administration was specifically surveilling Michael Flynn when it identified these phone calls with Kislyak?
The administration absolutely was not surveilling Michael Flynn. As I think I mentioned in the opening, President Obama we were all trying to figure out why is it the Russians aren't responding now, aren't retaliating after the sanctions, as they had indicated that they would. And that's when then the FBI discovered the conversations with Ambassador Kislyak.
So the policy difference here apparently was the belief of the Obama administrations that Putin should pay a price for interfering in the United States election by imposing sanctions on Russia. And what appears to be a phone call from Flynn, aspiring to be the national security advisor to the new president, tell him, don't worry about it. And you were wondering why Putin was not responding and considering whether this phone call had an impact on it? Is that true?
That's right, Senator. And, punishing and deterring the Russians for trying to throw our election doesn't seem like a policy to me. It seems like that's something that all Americans would support.
Yes, I would think they would. Certainly someone aspiring to be the national security advisor to the President of the United States. Flynn later lied about his conversations with Kislyak to the FBI and to Vice President Pence, denying that he talked about sanctions, stepped down as national security advisor in February 2017. But before he did, Ms. Yates, on January 26th and 27th of 2017, you briefed White House counsel Don McGahn about Michael Flynn. You shared the Justice Department's concern about Flynn's communications with Russia, his dishonesty about those communications, and his vulnerability to blackmail. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yet, unbelievably, after you had briefed the White House counsel about Flynn's vulnerability to blackmail and his dishonesty, on January 28th, 2017, President Trump spoke on the phone for nearly an hour with Vladimir Putin while General Flynn sat in the Oval Office with him. Is that a fact?
That's what I read. I don't know that personally, but I have read that.
Well, I've read it and seen it. I understand there's a White House photo showing General Flynn sitting in the Oval Office during that call. Ms. Yates, in your view, was it appropriate for Michael Flynn to sit in on phone calls with Vladimir Putin after you'd provided your briefings to Don McGahn?
Well, Senator, when I went over to brief Don McGahn, we made it very clear to them that we were providing them this information so that they could take action. And so certainly it would be surprising to me that of all things, you would have General Flynn sitting in on a phone call with Vladimir Putin.
And what kind of message do you think it sent to Russia for Flynn to be involved in that call?
It seems like it sends the same kind of message that General Flynn was sending in the phone calls with Ambassador Kislyak, which is, don't worry about the interference.
If you believe that Russian interference in American elections is a threat to our democracy, and I do, and most others do as well, then this approach by General Flynn is antithetical to what we consider to be the basic fundamentals of our nation. And a man, certainly a man aspiring to be National Security Advisor to the President, should know better. Mr. Chairman, I yield.